Welcome, ladies. This channel is all about thriving in every area of your life. This is a place where we exchange our excuses for excellence. We say goodbye to just getting by and we punch mediocrity in the face. It's time to say hello to your extraordinary, uncommon, and unusual life, just as God intended. If that sounds like your idea of a good time like it does me, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more. Are you ready? Today we're talking about overcoming fear. And ladies, if we can catch this in our spirit, it is sure to be a foolproof way to propel towards your purpose. Here's my story. All rational logic had gone out the window. I was 100% living in this fictitious world I had created in my mind. My imagination was running circles around Hollywood's best top box office hits. And when given the right circumstances, I can be a Grammy nominee, I think. Let me explain. A while back, I discovered this abscess in my mouth. It was on my gums, to be exact, and it was new, it was foreign, it did not belong, I was not a fan, and it was not welcome. Cue the opening credits. The story is about to unfold. When I discover unidentified objects like anywhere on my body, I have standard protocol that I run through. Doesn't everybody? See, I'm a pretty good at playing Dr. Google and applying all my DIY tactics. It usually works like a charm every time, but this time, nothing was working. I couldn't peel it off, I couldn't pick it off, I couldn't pop it off. Insert the dramatic orchestra film score. Lies began to flood my mind. Each one was wrapped in a prickly blanket of fear. I was convinced I was dying. Lightning strikes and thunder cracks, ba-boom! I immediately started kicking myself for all the chewing tobacco that I had in high school. Yeah, no need to pause and rewind. You heard that right. Me, chewing tobacco, high school. True story. Cancer became the leading actor in my feature film, and I was bound to be bald and dead in a matter of months in my mind. Satan was clearly directing this fake feature film, and nothing was off limits. We were going for gold. Remember, Grammy gold. My film needed a hero, so of course, I took matters into my own hands. I had to face the giant, in other words, my fear, face head on. Made an appointment with my dentist, and so he could give me a proper diagnosis, because I'm pretty sure he's more qualified than Dr. Google. I explained my dire circumstances to the receptionist, and imagine she got me in the next day, because panic can be very persuasive at times. By this time, I had a doctorate degree from Google University in gum disease, and I was preparing for my biopsy. It was inevitable. This box office hit that I was producing in my mind was reaching a climax. Death was imminent, and my days were numbered. Alas, I was sitting in the dentist chair, ready to face my fate. I explained all the gory details to my dentist, which led to this really weird and awkward impromptu true confession session right there in the dentist office. And for some reason, I felt it was very relevant for my dentist to know of a particular chewing tobacco session with my girlfriend in a Subaru in high school during a basketball game. And never mind that we broke into the car, I had bigger fish to fry. Sweet dentist. He was gracious beyond measure and listening and nodding to every tale I told. And by now, as you can imagine, I had the attention of the entire dentist office because dying people don't hold back, you know. I didn't care who heard my stories of remorse and regret. My fear was bold, it was brave, and it was ready to bear all and tell all for the world to hear. Sweet Dr. Gracious finally interrupted and said, why don't I just take a peek in your mouth? So why don't you open wide? And this was it. Cancer was calling. My life would never be the same again. Deep breath. Open wide. Yep, I see. In less than 2 seconds, my little abscess was dangling at the end of his little scraper thingy. A popcorn kernel. He announced it loud and proud for all to hear because all was listening at this point. And so it was. Embedded into my gum, popcorn disguised as cancer in my mind. As you can imagine, I flung my arms open, I pumped my fists in the air, and I hollered, "I'm gonna live!" loud and proud for all to hear. And then I laughed myself silly, literally. And so did Dr. Gracious, and so did the rest of the dentist office. And cut. Movie over, roll credits, starring Satan and his sidekick, Fear. F-E-A-R, fear, false evidence appearing real. This acronym accurately describes how our minds can weave together false tales of how situations will turn out, right? Case in point, I resemble that remark. We live in a society defined by insecurities. We fear the loss of our jobs, our health, money, relationships. We fear the loss of our sense of control. Okay, just to prove my point, I did a little research. So check out this list of real, honest to goodness fears that exist out there on planet Earth. Let me give you just a glimpse of just how far-fetched our fears can reach. Are you ready? Benophobia, fear of slime. I might have that one about getting in my carpet. Dextrophobia, fear of objects on the right side of your body. Thalassophobia, fear of being seated. Graphophobia, fear of writing in public. Phobophobia, fear of being afraid. Penthrophobia, fear of your mother-in-law, for crying out loud. Xanthrophobia, fear of the color yellow. And authorophobia, that's fear of authors. I just made that one up, but you get the point. Fear is rooted in many aspects of our day-to-day lives, but it doesn't have to stay there. Think about your biggest goal. Imagine your wildest dream and picture your purpose in life. And ask yourself, why haven't you accomplished them yet? If you're like me and most of the world, the answer is basic. It's fear. Fear is the number one limiting factor, aka big fat lie, keeping you from walking out your true potential. It's easy to pretend fear doesn't have a grip on you. It's easy to make excuses for your fear. It's easy to convince yourself that you simply cannot face your fear. And it's easy to talk yourself out of God's plan for your life. It's by design. Satan's purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. And when he can get us to hold on to our fears, it becomes harder and harder to face them. But listen to what God says. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I will hold you up with my right victorious hand. That is Isaiah 41:10. Yet despite that, fear continues to distract and derail us. Not on our watch. Let's flip the switch, ladies. Instead, let's try using fear as a cue to take action, to face it, instead of allowing it to be an excuse to derail us. Learning how to overcome fear is a foolproof way to propel us towards our purpose. So why don't we pause and look at the Lord as our source of truth? Check out these 5 simple ways to kick fear to the curb. Number 1, recognize your fears. Name them, but don't you dare claim them. The first step to overcoming fear is identifying it. God says in Philippians 4:6-7, do not worry about anything, my friend. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need, thank Him for all He's done, and then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and your minds as you live for Christ Jesus. Number 2, reveal it to heal it. Talk about your fears with people you trust. You see, fear grows in the space of silence. It's part of Satan's scheme. And when he wins at that scheme, he fills us with anxiety and doubts and insecurities. But when we speak it out loud, fear loses its grip on us. God says in Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you the path to take. Number 3, do something. Often, self-included, we become paralyzed by our need to be perfect. The result, we do nothing because we fear getting it wrong. Instead, practice progress. Take one baby step and celebrate progress over perfection. God says in Psalm 23:4, even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect me and they comfort me. Number 4, proximity is power. The simple act of who you spend time with is who you become. Take inventory. Make sure the people you are spending the most time with are truth tellers backed in love, dream defenders grounded in goodness, and Jesus freaks backed by the Bible. God says in Revelation 12:11, and they have defeated him, the enemy, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. That is good news. Number 5, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Nothing ever grows in the space and place of comfort and security anyways. Embrace fear in all of its sweaty palm and beating heart glory. Those are the life-defining, game-changing, walk on water moments that you were made for. God says in Romans 8:28, and we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. Knowing your fears and facing them will set you free and on fire for Jesus every time. Your purpose and your potential are worth fighting for. God needs you, and so do we. Peace and love. I believe in you. The world is waiting for you to rise up, take courage, and live different. Want a goof-proof way to kiss fear goodbye? Download your 2022 daily declarations right here. I'll put them in the link below. Victory is yours and guaranteed by God.